He worked until sweat dried cold beneath his mail, and while he worked he gathered facts. Habit would not let him do otherwise. The lane yielded more truth than prayer ever had. Hoofprints had churned the frozen mud near the square, but not in the wild scatter of raiders drunk on easy killing. The mounts had been reined in, turned, held in place. Men had dismounted in order. He saw the deep heel marks where they had formed ranks before spreading through the village, and the narrower prints of lighter boots moving behind them. Camp followers, perhaps, or looters used to knives and torches rather than shield walls. At the shrine wall he found a broken spearhead trodden half into the earth. Not village work. The socket was too fine, the iron folded and tempered by a professional smith. He turned it in his fingers, wiped soot away with his thumb, and found the faint stamp near the base, 3 notches around a crowned sun. Kyle closed his hand around the metal, until its edges bit his palm. He had seen that mark in the Eastern Campaign, on supply crates, on officers' buckles, on the dead who wore the enemy king's colors. Not border thieves then, not hungry deserters. Soldiers, or men paid and equipped by soldiers. That changed the nature of the crime without lessening it. A bandit might burn for plunder or panic. An army burned because someone had ordered a road cleared. A district punished. A village taught fear. He looked over the cottages again, and saw method where grief had first shown only ruin. The well spared so horses could drink. The grain stores split open and spoiled. The strongest houses fired first to spread confusion. This had not been rage, it had been procedure. He moved to the edge of the yard where the ground dipped soft beneath the ash, and crouched despite the protest in his knees. There, impressed cleanly in the mud, lay the print of a nailed cavalry boot beside the smaller mark of a soft-soled woman's shoe. Mara's, perhaps, or another villager driven there at sword point. The boot had pivoted inward. A struggle. Beside it he found a snapped leather thong and a bead of blue glass no bigger than a pea. He knew that glass. Southern trade, cheap and bright, often braided into the beards or harness tassels of mercenary companies who sold themselves to whichever banner promised silver. Enemy regulars with hired scavengers at their heels. Efficient enough to win battles. Base enough to strip villages after. For a moment the old soldier in him did what the husband could not. It counted numbers, estimated discipline, judged direction. 20 riders at least, more on foot. They had come from the north road and left east by the river track, likely rejoining a larger column. Useful knowledge, useless to the dead. It would not warm Mara's hands or raise the dead from the square. Yet as Cale straightened, spearhead in one fist, ash in his lungs, his grief hardened into something colder than anguish and more dangerous than sorrow. The men who had done this belonged to a chain of command, and chains could be followed.